Hello, everybody. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor. Today we're reviewing Between Two Ferns, the movie. That's right. It just came out on Netflix. You can go watch it next. But should you? That's the big question. I watched it and I want to share my feelings without spoiling it, although it's not really a movie you could spoil. The big question is it funny or is it not? Sadly, it wasn't as funny as I hoped it would be. I really do like the series, but the film overall, while it has some funny parts and the interviews are funny, the film overall does just feel like they figured out a way to get paid to stitch together a bunch of celebrity interviews. And the reality is I would have rather just seen them do a bunch of interviews longer than the stuff in between. Not that they didn't try, but it almost feels weirdly like they're really trying to make a good movie, and it's just a very generic, not as funny as the other stuff. The movie itself is about Zach Galifianakis being sort of his jerk character who he really just wants a network TV show. They don't really form out the character much. He doesn't seem to try to give him anything else aside from he's just the jerk that would ask the weird questions. They justify the whole series as if Will Ferrell's this crazy caricature of Funny or Die, keeping his clicks and how many views, and it's all money to him. It's funny. I didn't mind that. I wasn't looking for this movie for plot, but to watch, even an 80-minute movie with Zach Galifianakis as sort of his mean character, you're hoping for some redeeming qualities, and then they try to, and they're sort of the movie within the segments, I'll call it, because the movie's really filled with a lot of celebrity cameos doing Between Two Fern bits, but they're quick. They're little quick moments, and Keanu Reeves, for example, is in there for a minute, and then they're out, and it's I would have watched 5, 6, 7 minutes of him alone. So to me, what was more interesting was that, and then at the end of the movie, there are outtakes where it's just much funnier, and you're watching them break while they're doing their bits, and it just it finally gives him, the Zach character, sort of okay, we can laugh with this type of thing, where it's hard to get when you watch him for that long and then being mean to his crew who's filming him and everything. It's a weird dynamic of a movie. So I don't mean to overthink it, but that's what you got to do in your review. And this movie was disappointing. I really wanted to like it more. There are some great sequences, don't get me wrong. David Letterman does a fantastic cameo, and Paul Rudd. Those two are probably the best ones, in my opinion. They both have moments in the film where they're just trying not to make each other laugh, and you can tell. And specifically Paul Rudd and Letterman. And even before you get to the bloopers at the end, you can sort of feel the energy, but they don't. They cut to the stone face reactions. But then at the very end of the movie, you get this blooper scene that completely, I thought was some of the funniest stuff in the movie. And so the plot itself just doesn't make any sense, and it shouldn't have to make sense. I don't care about a plot, but then when you're going to add sort of the ragtag crew that's being taken advantage of by him and doesn't like him, but then they have moments where he's trying to be nice to them, and I didn't care. I didn't care at all, and I wanted them to get to funnier segments. I wanted it to be an excuse to just make a bunch of funny sequences. And the plot itself of him being forced out after, as the trailer says, he nearly drowns Matthew McConaughey, so Will Ferrell makes him go do 10 more episodes. And the deal is if he does this, he'll get a network TV show, is the sort of premise of the movie. And that's what makes Zach Galifianakis go cross country to find celebrities, and it is what it is. Chrissy Teigen has a scene in the movie. She's really funny. There is a little bit of where it goes, and I don't want to spoil it. There are some funny moments, but overall, I found myself just sort of not laughing. It's sadly. There's clearly a lot on the cutting room floor of the Between Two Ferns sections, which is really just like a roast in front of somebody, and the other person just sort of playing the straight character of just not laughing. But there's something interesting at the end of the movie, which, they toy with this idea of, will he get a talk show, and what would that change his character, and what does that mean? And in a moment of the film, they sort of get to make fun of talk shows today. And I really thought it was a jab at Jimmy Fallon. And I almost wish they'd embraced that earlier, and they would have found more of that and sort of had some sort of commentary on things of why the show is better than typical shows. And then Zach realizing, that's important. And it doesn't really ever go there. And that's what's so frustrating. There's all this potential where they actually could have stretched this out and had a commentary, I feel like, on celebrity and interviewing celebrities and just online content, and actually said something greater about it all. And it doesn't ever really find its voice there. It's just a strung together scene of Between the Two Ferns clips with big names, mind you. Keanu Reeves, Paul Rudd, who I said really funny, Benedict Cumberbatch, Tiffany Haddish, all decent scenes. Brie Larson has a couple moments, and big names that they scored, but really, again, doesn't go anywhere. So a bit of a letdown for me. I didn't mind the cast. Lauren Lapkus, I think this is the cameraman. They were fine. They were okay. They put Zach around these, here's the crew, sort of. Lauren Lapkus is of Orange and New Black. She was a Jurassic World. But they put together Zach with his sort of ragtag crew of who actually is shooting the show, and they do everything for him. And it sort of in the beginning feels like they're trying to do this sort of like an Office type of show where they're all talking to camera and it's all mockumentary style, like Christopher Guest. And it's just, we've seen it better. And so Scott Aukerman, I think, is hilarious, the director and creator and who worked on this. I don't mean to knock it. I just can't tell if this was a cash grab or if they really were trying it. You know what I think it is? It's like funny when you're on a set. Sometimes the crew, it's so many funny people. Will Ferrell, Zach Galifianakis, they're all there and they're all improvising. Paul Rudd showing up and they're making each other laugh hugely. And so a lot of those outtakes don't make the movie. And there's this sort of a feeling on a set, and I've been there and I've been guilty of it too. It's so funny in the moment, but then is it funny when you watch it out of the moment with people who weren't there? And I feel like this movie is sort of a little bit of that. It's not as funny when you're there. You can tell at the end of the movie because when they're doing their bloopers and they're making each other break with laughter out of character, it's funny. And you could tell those are actually funny and you like it because you're like, oh, I'm in on this joke now. But in Between Two Ferns, it works as sort of that 4-minute segment where he's just bam, bam, hitting them hard and you don't really know why. And is it Zach being a jerk? Is it the character? And now once they open up who the character of this guy Between Two Ferns, this weird version of Zach, it didn't help the show at all. It doesn't help add comedy. It doesn't add interesting context. It's just him being a jerk to his crew, and there's not much more to it. So overall, disappointed. I wish it was funnier. I think it is one of those movies that's a perfect Netflix movie to throw on in the background. You'll have a couple laughs. And I think they should, I hope Funny or Die just releases a bunch of extra episodes of the extended interviews because it's clearly made, Keanu Reeves was sitting there for 10 minutes, whatever, and did an episode, and he's only in the movie for a minute. So I wonder if they'll be able to do extra installments. And to be fair, I want to watch more of those before I watch another movie. And if they were to do another movie for some reason this is successful, less plot, more interview, and just do long form unedited interviews. How about he does a podcast where it's just even more making fun of that whole new genre. There is a lot he could have mined and done. It's like even Red Letter Media, right? Parodies shows like I was on and Collider and all these things. And so it's like, there's an upgraded take he could have done in the new world of media. And I just wish they had put a little bit more effort into that and had a little bit more commentary, satire, and all of that. So overall, mixed bag for me. What did you think? Have you already watched it? Did you know it was even out? Sometimes Netflix just snipers us with this content. Are you going to watch it ASAP? Or are you going to wait a little bit? Tell me down in the comments below. Hit me up on social media if you have any other questions or things you want me to cover here on Popcorn Planet. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back with more videos this weekend and later today. So thanks so much. Make sure to subscribe. Bye, everybody.